Alright, this week we're going to revisit my childhood once again and the Lake Erie tributary days, and we're going to go in and tie a sucker spawn. We used to tear fish up on these patterns, and even so, I mean, when the sucker was spawning for, and not even the tribs, I mean, even back on the J or whatever it was, it's along the same lines as throwing an egg pattern. It really is. There's just certain times of the year when the sucker are spawning. There's just an abundance of this stuff in the river, and the browns, bows, whatever it may be, they'll sit right behind the reds and just suck these things up all day long. So I mean, it's kind of along the same lines of an egg, like I was saying. It's kind of like cheating, but if you need a confidence pattern, especially, probably winter more so than anything, November leading into December time frame, this is a good pattern to go with. But Lake Erie year round, when the Steelhead were running, this is a pattern that I would use. You have a bunch of different options on this stuff. The glow bug yarn's one that I used quite frequently. There's this spawn yarn. I used to just tie with, I would go to the craft stores and everything, and I would just get the big old rolls of yarn. They're probably still sitting back at Mom and Dad's house. I had just a pile of these things. I'd get them for like $1, and you could tie a million flies off of them and, still have material left over. So I used to go through a lot of those, and I would tie a ton of sucker spawns. I'd tie them up in a bunch of different color combinations and everything. And man, I used to have a pile of them. But like I said, when I did the egg a couple of weeks back, it's not really something that I tie or really do anymore these days. But I figured I'd put a video out there just to show how to tie them, show how I tied them. Or there's 1,000 different ways to do it. People are throwing crystal flash in them nowadays and all sorts of different stuff. But I'll go into the one that I did most frequently as a kid, and I'm going to take this is really a step back in time. This is Folly's End Fly Tackle and Bait Shop specific sucker spawn yarn. Man, I bet you Folly made a killing off of this stuff. I think he sold it for like $3 a pack, but that was back in the 90s, so who knows what the heck it is now. But yeah, anyone that's ever been up that way, that was a pretty neat shop. A lot of variety for sure. We can cater to all walks of life. So I'm just going to go ahead and lay a thread base down. This is just red. I don't even know what the heck it is. I don't know if it's Vivus or whatever it is, but I'm just going to lay a quick thread base down. Go back and forth over top of this a few times, and then work my way to the front. Now I'm going to take this fine Folly's End material, and I'm going to cut off probably about a 2-inch length of it, and it's in 3 strands, and you can see it has some fibers sticking off the end of it. Kind of gives that little a little bit of lifelike action, if you can say that, to this pattern. And then I'm going to start this right behind my eye, probably a 1/8 of an inch, and I'm just going to tie this stuff in, and I'm going to work it all the way to the back, making sure that I have good clean coverage the entire way. And I lost one there. Oh no, it's still there. Still good. So I'm going to take this back, and then all I'm going to do is form a bump right here. And get that tied in and secure. I'm going to advance my thread. It looks good enough. advance my thread, and then I'm going to make a second bump that's a little bit bigger. It's a really complex fly here, but seriously, it caught me a pile of steelhead over the years. I'm going to tie that off, come underneath it, and I'm going to go right to the eye of my hook, slightly behind it. This bump here is going to be a little bit less than the middle one. Capture my thread. Yep. And I did wind up with only 2 of them there. That's why it looked a little sparse. That's alright. It'd still fish. Now we'll go ahead and clean this piece up here. Make sure that your eye stays nice and clean. And then we'll go ahead and whip finish. We used to get really creative and think we were really setting the world on fire when we would come up with a different color combination or what have you on this stuff. Man, some people got really wild and they used orange thread instead of red. And that knot didn't take for me there. This is some old thread here, so it's probably a little dry rotted. But yeah, we thought we were setting the world on fire when we tied something with orange thread and went out there and caught a fish. But no, like I said, pretty basic pattern, as basic as you can get, really. But man, it did catch a pile of fish back in the day. There's no denying that, and it still catches fish. Let me just clean that up a little bit. There we go. There you have it. That's a tough one there. That's a tough one, but like I said, it catches a ton of fish. Old Folly made a pile of money out of this one too. Yeah, I should have been the one to come up with that damn thread right there. Surely wouldn't be working these days. Well, yeah, probably still be working. Anyhow, there it is. There's a sucker spawn. If there's any questions or comments, as always, leave them with me. I'll get back to you. But thanks for watching. We'll catch you on next week's fly.